Hey, Katie. Hello, Pambolina. Hello, Irving Johnson. Amanda L. Shauna, a member. Hello, Shauna, one of our channel members. Well, here comes some folks. We're getting some people on here now. Welcome, everybody. Sorry for the dead time there. Wow, 69 people. Getting quite a few on here. Welcome. Hey, Annette Flynn. How are you? Hello, Tony, over there in Ireland. Crikey, down there in chemtrail capital, Gainesville. We didn't go through Gainesville on our recent trip to Key West, but we passed through Jacksonville. Let me tell you, there were so many chemtrails there. Hey, Catitude, down there in Florida. Hey, Betty Brown, another member. I'm trying not to look old, but my gosh, I can barely read what y'all are writing. No fault of you. Claudia Tabayayan says, chemtrails going strong in Washington. Yep. Tony Lynch, we are doing very well. All right, so guys, listen. This is like a impromptu, unannounced live stream. Welcome to my office / spare bedroom. That's why I've got it kind of. This is the one room in the house my wife doesn't care if I boy it up a little bit. So I got my X-Files, I Want to Believe UFO poster, and my Muhammad Ali poster standing over Sonny Liston, showing the world he's the greatest back here. Hello, Lisa Ann. I want to thank Lisa Ann for voluntarily being one of our moderators on these live streams. So I just thought I'd go live for at least half an hour or so, see what you guys are doing. And it's for everybody. This isn't a members only, because I want to talk to you a little bit about something that my good friend Heath is doing over there at Heath's house. Let me pull it up on my phone so I can show it to you. Let's see here, Heath's house. Look at this, man. I'm going to tell you why. So Heath's house, I think he's got 600. How many subscribers he's got now? He's got 656 subscribers. We're trying to get him up to 1,000 because that's one of the criteria for monetization. Hey, what's up, Brian? Yeah, I know we're open as far as like everybody's allowed on here. Yeah. Annette, you've been following Heath. Thank you. Let me tell you, this guy right now is in Africa. He's in Africa right now as a volunteer helping build wells for children who otherwise wouldn't have drinking water, wouldn't be able to go to school. Some of these wells they're building service like healthcare centers where the folks over there go for their medical needs. And let me tell you, Heath, he's an amazing guy. But this is why I wanted to talk to you about this. Oh, Shauna, thank you for following Heath. Betty, thank you for going over to follow him. It's called, let me put that in the chat. It's called Heath's House. I'll see if I can tag it so the link will come up. Heath's House. See if that works. I don't think it worked, but that's the name of it. Name of the channel, Heath's House. So about an hour ago, got some very disconcerting news. Something terrible happened in our community here just 2 nights ago, and I just heard about it. We had a shooting in the parking lot of one of our local grocery stores. Okay, you may have seen it. You'll probably only see it on Fox News. They probably won't even air it on any of the other legacy media channels. And I'm not going to go into detail why, but you can, if you see the details as far as who the shooter was and who the victims were, you'll understand. So remember, folks, it's all about the clicks. But 2 people died. They went to the grocery store. This was Monday night of this week. We had a massive storm Well, it wasn't so much a massive storm that came through on Tuesday, but it was very cold. The roads were very icy. People knew it was coming. So what do? They go to the grocery store the day before to stock up on necessities so that they can hunker down and not leave during the storm. And this gunman knew that that would be a great place to take out a lot of people in a short period of time. Went there with his vehicle loaded down with firearms. Let me tell you, Let me tell you, there's an unsung hero, and they haven't named him yet. But there was an off-duty federal officer who happened to be there that was on the scene and took out the shooter within 20 seconds of his first round being fired. And in that 20 seconds, the shooter did manage to kill two people. 42-year-old man who works in finance. It was a married father of two daughters that lived right down the road from the grocery store, and a 68-year-old retired nurse who lived a little further out the road. They just went to the grocery store and then they never went home because they were gunned down and killed by a lunatic. A lunatic. Uh, and Thanks, Lisa Ann. Lisa Ann posted the link to Heath's house. So, but there was an off-duty federal agent there who, within 20 seconds, got there and he unalived the gunman. Fortunately, before the gunman could have really it could have been in double digits victims before police would have had time to get there or anybody else. So thank God that off-duty federal agent who was armed was there and took care of business. And so we just found out about that from a friend. And thanks, Darren. You're going to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, that happened in Crozet, Virginia. You spell that Crozet if you want to Google it. But I pretty much just told you everything. It's a small community. It's not far from Charlottesville, Virginia. It's in Albemarle County, Virginia. This is a relatively low crime area. This is just the kind of stuff that this is like the last place in the world you would expect this to happen. But then, of course, we had the school shooting at UVA a couple of years ago. Of course, same thing. Once they found out who the gunman was, it's like everybody's ready to burn America to the ground until they find out that the narrative wasn't quite what legacy media likes to push with these things. And so the next day, my wife and I actually went and walked across campus, and where they were having vigils and everything the night before, all of a sudden there wasn't even a stray flower remaining, not even a single candle. You're probably picking up what I'm laying down if you know anything about that shooting, who the shooter was. Tony, he didn't want money. He was a mentally unstable individual. His sister, the recent shooting from a couple of days ago, my wife found a post this guy's sister made on Facebook. They said he was mentally ill, or he'd had a mental health crisis. I don't want to put any misinformation out there. He had graduated from a local high school in that community, got a college education at James Madison University, a good college on the other side of the mountain from us. He's just having a mental health issue, and supposedly the family had tried to get him help and couldn't get him help. And they had actually gone to the authorities and tried to get them to take away his firearms because they didn't feel that he was safe having them. But I mean, he had never committed a crime. He had no criminal record, and they couldn't just go take. I mean, you can't do that. This is still America. So, I mean, I have firearms. I use them responsibly. I acquired them legally. I purchased them legally. They did the background check. Let's say, well, I've got neighbors that don't like me. They can't go tell the authorities, hey, the guy target practices in his yard and he hunts on his property, which I do both legally and safely. There is no right for anybody to come take my firearms just because my neighbors don't like me and they might feel threatened because I'm in possession of them. I would never harm them or anyone else. So I totally understand the laws are in place to protect everybody, to include those of us who are legal firearm owners and safe and responsible firearm owners. But that's the story. The family went to the authorities. They said, listen, this guy, he's having a mental health crisis. We think he's going to hurt somebody. There's nothing they could do. And then so, yeah, on Monday, he unalived two people in the parking lot. So my wife and I were talking about this, and it was like, oh my gosh, in this community. I mean, this is like Half the people that live where we live are farmers, and the other half are like innocent, peaceful, almost scared of their own shadow type yuppies. You know what I mean? Harmless people. And then this happened here. So I was kind of starting to go off on a tangent about how crazy the world has become, especially in the US. Um, it, but then I saw what Heath did. Let's go back to Heath. This is what. Oh, Jeff Sherwood used to live in Ruckersville. Guess what? So did I, Jeff. I used to first home I ever owned was 1 mile behind that food line there in Ruckersville. I owned that home for 6 years until I sold it as a result of a divorce that occurred from my first marriage. Um, so anyway, we're talking about how cold, dark, and nasty the world is getting. And then, excuse me, Heath uploads a video of what's going on in Africa. Listen, this man who is still Heath Forbes, that's his last name. He won't care if I tell you. He is still currently serving in the U.S. Army National Guard, even though he's 48 years old. He's not old, but let me tell you, I was in the Army National Guard. I was attached to active units in an active unit in Iraq. I was with other active units in other places. That stuff ain't easy. And I was in my mid 30s when I got out. He's almost 50 and he's still going to drill once a month, doing the 2 week AI or ATs annual trainings. If the unit deploys, he'll deploy. He's served in Iraq. He's served in Afghanistan. Uh, and on top of that, the dude has 3 jobs. He has a government job full time. He's got a civilian job. And I think he might consider his new YouTube endeavors his 3rd job. Yeah, Shauna, he's a true patriot. Hey, Jackie MRD Oreo. I'm glad you made the first time live. Liam, my feet are okay, I guess. Hey, Anna Rathsey. There's a channel member. I'm so glad to make it back to another live. I love your videos so much. Thank you, Nanny Rathsey. I said your name wrong. Sorry. Hi, Tanya in Canada. So, on top of all this stuff, 3 jobs, still serving the Army National Guard, veteran of both Iraq and he was also in Afghanistan. He's volunteering. He is literally in Africa right now as a volunteer to help build wells. Now, while he's there, he's not just going around seeing these wells put in, he's hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro. He's doing that as a fundraiser. And again, he's got links for all this stuff on his channel. You go to his channel, Lisa Ann, one of our channel members, and whatever she does on here. What do you call that when people get rid of the trolls? Moderator. Yeah, one of our moderators. She put the link to his channel in there. It's called Heath's House. He does a lot of cooking. He loves to eat, and he's a great cook. We love to go to his house. Hey there, Amy Kearns in Powhatan, Virginia. Amy, you live in our favorite cat fishing spot. We will drive, it's about an hour and a half out of our way because we live about 25 minutes on the other side of Charlottesville from you. But we go past that, the juvenile prison, cross the bridge, and go towards Powhatan State Park. We do fish at the state park sometimes, but usually at the bridge before the state park. Tell you what, dearly learned a valuable lesson 2 summers ago about the importance of using the proper fishing gear and tackle at Powhatan State Park. This is where Amy Kearns lives, y'all. Let me tell you this story real quick, then I'm going to get back to Heath. Listen, I'm begging for you to subscribe to his channel. I want him to hit 1,000 subscribers. This guy is a true American patriot. He's over there helping poor people in Africa who don't even have drinking water get drinking water. Still serving in the Guard. Oh, and guess what? You know how I know him? Through youth sports. His son and my son have been playing on the same teams in football and basketball for years. And this past year, Heath and I started coaching together. He was the defensive coordinator on our tackle football team from this past fall. I was the personality coach. Yeah, it's like team shrink or whatever. I know, scary, right? And now we're both coaching basketball together. I'm technically the head coach, but I put Heath in charge because he's forgotten more about sports and athletics and competition than we'll ever know. And he really turned things around. Hey, thanks, and Nanny Rathsey. And I appreciate you subscribing to Heath, but also go to like one of his recent videos that he's put up there and just say, hey, uh, thanks for what you're doing in Africa, or thanks for serving in the military. Crazy Lake sent us. Yeah, Lisa Ann's in the mod squad. So anyway, back to the fishing story. So we have now we have catfishing rods with 30-pound line on them, and we have trout rods with 4-pound test line on them. Only because of the lesson that Miss Dearly learned the hard way. That's my wife, my beautiful bride Dearly. Is she on here? You know, most of you know her. Look, here she is on my phone. Isn't she pretty? Beautiful little Filipino lady. Isn't she just absolutely gorgeous? That's from a couple years ago at a UVA football game. That's why we have our UVA football shirts on. Beautiful, isn't she? So anyway, before we had both rods and both lines, we only had catfishing rods because we mostly go catfishing. But I wanted to go trout fishing 2 years ago because I hadn't been trout fishing in years. And I was like, I'm going to buy some trout rods and trout line. And she's like, why? We already have fishing poles. And I said, yeah, but trout, they're smaller. They can see the line. And no, weirdo, you can't see my feet and toes. That's just crazy. Wait a minute. I clicked on the wrong thing. Listen, this isn't that one site. But listen, there are people that make, I don't know why most people aren't doing some sort of social media. There are people that make $10,000 a month showing their feet and toes on some, I can't even remember the name of the thing. But I'll tell you, I don't know. If I have a bad month on YouTube or whatever, I think I might just go show my feet and toes so I can pay the bills. But it's just crazy. I don't know why anybody would have a real job anymore. But so she said no. She didn't. She's very, they call it creepote in her language. It means tight with money. And we are as a family because I grew up poor by American standards. She grew up third world poor. And it's not, we just don't want to be poor again. We have no desire to be rich, though. If you look at the numbers, a lot of folks might say that we kind of are. The IRS seems to think so. But we just don't want to be poor again. So we don't waste money. We don't buy stuff we don't need. We do like to travel. And so that's probably our biggest way we throw away money, like our recent trip to Key West. You know, we went to the Philippines for the entire last winter, and we've got some upcoming trips planned here for this summer. So she's like, no, don't buy new fishing poles. We already have fishing poles. So I put 4-pound test line on catfishing rods, right? We went trout fishing. We actually did catch several trout. So then somebody says, TK says Trump will close the IRS. I wish. You know what I wish for? I wish there was just a flat tax. Like anybody that makes less than 30 grand a year doesn't have to pay squat. Because if you make that little, you get it all back anyway. Whatever you pay into it, that tax refund thing, they're just giving you your own money back without paying you any interest. Let me tell you, you're not winning anything when you get that tax refund. Basically, I guess it was a savings account for you if you didn't have that, might not have had the discipline to save. Okay, but it's 0% interest. Then charge everybody else just 10%, you know, because they have that staggered tax thing, and I'm in the highest bracket, and it's like, let me tell you, whatever. That's a whole nother topic. So we go catfishing at Powhatan State Park, where this lady's from, with catfish rods, but with only 4-pound test line, which means you're going to be lucky to catch a 6 or 8-pound fish on that sort of a. Let me hold on. This dude sicko wants to keep seeing my feet and toes. I had to ban him. Come on, Lisa Ann, where are you? That's why you're in the mod squad. You got to get those people out of here. Thrifty, right? Betty Brown calls it thrifty. We're thrifty, okay? So we go catfishing with 4-pound test line on our poles. Dearly hooks into a catfish. Its head was this big. Somehow she manages to get this thing all the way to the bank. It was probably, I never caught a catfish this big. It had to have weighed 35 or 40 pounds, maybe 50. It was huge. I think because it wasn't really fighting very hard, she was reeling it in and it came to the bank. But once it got to the bank and we tried to pull it up on the bank, it just went and just snapped that 4 pound test line. She almost cried. I almost cried. And I looked at her and I said, honey, that's why we need to have catfish rods with 30 pound catfish pound test line on it, and why we need to have trout rods with 4 pound test line on it. You can't go fishing for the same or with for different types of fish with the same tackle. It just doesn't work. So we came home and she let me splurge and buy some more specific fishing gear and equipment so that hopefully that doesn't happen again. Betty Brown, you love my tax idea. You know, it's an idea that's been pitched forever. But I don't know, man. I think a lot of it is because if you were to just have a flat tax, and maybe with Trump in there again, and with Elon Musk doing this whole Dodge thing, trying to cut down on government waste, I've always felt the reason they never did a flat tax was just because there's tens of thousands, and I think after Joe Biden, it was like I think he employ like 80,000 more IRS agents. It's like there's 250,000 people who are employed by the IRS who, if you went to the flat tax system, one basic, simple little form that's sent out that computers could read, you'd have about 250 people working for the IRS. And government is like, I tell you, I've worked in government, in the military. I've worked in the quasi-government sector with the U.S. Postal Service. It's all about, hey, man, let's get our friends and buddies and relatives in here, get them a job, sit on their fat backsides and don't do squat except pass the buck. You get free health insurance. You get a pension if you stay for 30 years. You get federal holidays off, all these perks, all these benefits. The money's not great, but it's enough to pay your bills. But the workload is so light and so small. It's like you just show up and you get a paycheck. You just show up for 8 hours a day, sit on your butt. People call, oh, yeah, I have a question about this and so. I got this form. Hold, please. Yo, man, you see that game last night, bro? Yo, man, Chiefs got beat. Man. That's government. That's government jobs right there. I know because I've been there. It didn't work out too well for me. I'm too much of a go-getter, too much of a worker. I've got too much drive, ambition. That's why I'm an entrepreneur, and that's why I do my own thing now. All right. Thanks, Lisa. I see you hit somebody. Amy Kearns says, we camped at Powhatan State Park last summer. You know, we've been meaning to camp there, and we've driven around that campground, but we haven't. I'm going to show you what I do when I'm bored. I draw. Been a while. I decided to draw a picture yesterday after my nap. I come in here to my office to work, and I usually end up laying down in that bed and sleeping. See if you can tell what it is. What do you think? All right. Anyway. Yes. Silver Lining Story 60. Got it. It's watermelon. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Sean, a drawing is an escape. I like to draw, and I like to also carve wood. Look, here's one of my wood carvings. This is just a stick from a poplar tree. And then I carved like faces into them. This one's got a pumpkin head. So anyway, so listen, back to Heath, because I told my wife I'd only do this for about 30 minutes. We were talking about the shooting, how terrible of a place the world can be at times. Then Heath's video pops up, and I said to my wife, I said, you know what, honey? Yeah, there are lunatics like this guy that just went out there and unalived these two innocent people that had committed the crime of going to the grocery store the night before a storm, you know, and then they never made it home. And again, thank God that, and this is, again, in my opinion, this is why the good guys do need to be armed. You know, the firearms are not, they're a tool. They're like any other tool. They're like a hammer. A hammer is, you know, made to drive nails. And, you know, 99% plus of people that own hammers use that hammer properly and correctly, and they use that hammer to drive nails. But every now and then, somebody uses a hammer to hurt somebody else or unalive somebody. Firearms, in my very humble opinion, are the exact same way. They're a tool. We use them to harvest wild game. Uh, I have hereditarily heart disease. I have, as much as I exercise, as healthy as I try to eat, I cannot outrun genetics. I was a state champion miler, ran track on full scholarship in college, trained for 2 different Olympic trials, but I can't outrun genetics. So venison is the only red meat that I typically will eat because it's the healthiest red meat there is. It's leaner than boneless, skinless chicken breast. So I use my tool to, to harvest venison humanely, safely. So I shouldn't lose the right to have that tool because some lunatic who's having a mental episode decides to take people out in the parking lot of a grocery store. You know what I mean? Um, Annette Flynn asked, Kevin, what do you think about the $5,000? I don't know what that means. What $5,000? Yes, Torkin 333. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Yeah, Sue Ellen, same thing about chainsaws. I mean, I have a very nice chainsaw. It's a Husqvarna 455 Rancher. I used cheap chainsaws for years because honestly, it's just all I could afford. I'd use $120 pull-ins and they'd last 2 or 3 years, and I'd run through them and wear them out and need to replace them. But then finally, we got built up to where I could go out and spend $500 or $600 on a really nice chainsaw, and it's the last chainsaw I'll ever have to buy in my life. My son, who's 14, will take that chainsaw, and he won't need to buy another chainsaw in his life. And we use it to cut firewood. But hey, y'all remember Leatherface? I mean, down there in Texas, y'all know what he did with his chainsaw. I mean, it was a massacre. All right. Okay. So Musk said Dodge will refund tax money $5,000. That'd be great. Of course, that'll just be applied to what I owe, whatever. Yeah, we owe between $50,000 and $70,000 every year in taxes. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, that's more than most Americans make. That's how much we pay every year in taxes. And people that don't work tell me I don't pay enough. That's what gets me. It's like you don't want to work or you don't want to earn. You want to do the bare minimum and not anything that's withheld from you, you actually get back as a refund. But then I pay between $50,000 and $75,000 a year, and you're complaining that I don't pay enough because of how much more than you I make? Bruh, start a YouTube channel. Sheesh. So Lori Mullen says the talk is about all taxpayers are getting $5,000 refund from the feds. I hope so. A guy asked if Kevin's wearing pants. Nope. Jason Wallace has a Bigfoot Sasquatch outside of his house. Ugh. Oh, okay. Lisa Morin saying per household, Dodge Cash. Yeah, Betty Brown nails it. She says people need guns to protect themselves as well as harvest food. Yeah. I mean, I've never had to use mine for protection. I mean, here. Now, Iraq was a different story. But, we got signs up because, listen, we got signs up on our gates and fences that state warning, firearms in use, no trespassing. Because, listen, you've got to make sure to cover your backside in the event, like trespassers. I don't want to be out here hunting or target practicing and somebody decides to just uninvitedly come upon my place for any reason whatsoever and be where they shouldn't be. So that's why we got those signs out there. Wow. Messervy Bound. Hello. Just recently got myself a 10 gauge double barrel S&S for showing my feet on my second account. Maybe you should give it a try if you want one. Is this another foot person? Come on. All right. What's the name of the website where you can show your feet and make a lot of money? People clearly want to see my feet. And I guess I could, I've got taxes coming up in April. Dag nabbit, even if they give everybody $5,000, well, what? So then I'm only going to own 45 from last year's earnings. Geez, I might have to show you people my feet to satisfy the IRS, or at least until they go to the flat tax. Hey, Mike Shriver Ministries, what's up? And guys, there's another channel I want you to subscribe to as well. Mike Shriver, he's part of our mod squad. And so a lot of times people leave nasty comments on the channel and they disappear and they think I took them away. Nope, Mike took them away. Or Lisa Ann, or maybe me. But Mike is a devout Christian. He's a minister. He gives sermons on his channel. Thanks, Lisa Ann, for hiding the feet guy from the channel. But I got to know now. I got to know what the name of the site is where I show my feet, because I'm talking about taxes. And I know I'm going to have to give them like 50 grand here. What is this for everyone? 2 more months, man. I don't know, Betty Brown. Too many people asking too many questions about my pants and my feet. And FYI, I seriously do have pants on right now. Amy Chimaglia says vets shouldn't have to pay taxes. You know what? I've heard a lot of people say that, and that would be wonderful. I'll tell you, man, the things I could talk about for that. You see these down and out vets. You see these homeless veterans, disabled veterans on the streets, nowhere to go. And you hear people saying, oh, our government should do more for them. We should do more for them. And a lot of you know my personal story. I used to be a homeless veteran. I was down and out in the Philippines on an expired visa for like 5 years. I went to the Philippines to basically drink and fornicate myself to death. But then I ended up meeting my wife, and she loved me back to life, and she gave me our son Daniel and turned things around. This is what gets me, though. When I was that down and out homeless veteran, addicted to all the crack the VA and the Army had me on, everybody's like, oh, the government should do so much more for you. They should give you free housing and, a living allowance and blah, 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 blah. Well, by golly, you reach down there and you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and you have a wonderful woman like Dearly in your life. Show you her again. Isn't she a little cutie? And a wonderful son, people who love you unconditionally, and they help pick you up while you're pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Then you enter the top 1 percentile of income earners in the nation, nay, world. And then everybody's oh, you should be paying more in taxes. People like you're the problem. You should have to pay twice as much in taxes as you pay. Well, how come 10 years ago, when I was a homeless, down and out, drunken, disabled combat veteran, I should have had a free ride? But when I start doing for myself a lot better than the average bear, I should be penalized and have to pay even more in taxes. People are nuts, no? But again, back to Heath, at Heath's house. That's why I can really appreciate a guy like Heath. 3 jobs, voluntarily going to Africa to help build wells, voluntarily hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro to raise money, donations for his efforts for the wells. And then this guy, excuse me, thank you, Silver Lining Story 60. Yes, I did pull myself up by my own bootstraps, along with the love, the unconditional love. First time in my life I've ever known it, from my wife and our son. It was a big help. He's got to put at least 40 hours a week into coaching. And like football, this last tackle football season, on top of coaching and being the defensive coordinator full time, and we were doing it 5 days a week, 5 days a week. He also would cook for the team all the time. He would literally cook and grill out and smoke meats and take it to practices, take it to games, feed the kids after practice, after games. It's insane. And so he's got, before this live stream, he had 665 subscribers. I think all I'm trying to do is get enough of y'all to go subscribe to his channel, get him up to 1,000. There are 403 people on this live stream right now. If every single one of you went to Heath's house and subscribed, boom, he'd be over what he needs to be considered for monetization. Now, of course, after that, he's going to need watch time too. So watch his videos. Don't just go subscribe but make sure to watch a video or two so he gets the watch hours. But let's see. Oh, he's up to 670. So 5 of you have gone over. Yeah, there he is. Look at that. He's over there in Africa doing stuff. Look at that. That's how they have to get water.
Yeah, 15 meters. So that's 50 feet deep right there. So, and even digging down in those, sometimes they collapse.
That's Heath,
well.
the guy lowering the rope into the well.
It's still considered surface water, so it has contaminants in it. So if you tested this water, it'll probably be pretty high for bacteriological.
The name of his channel, Grace, is Heath's House. Yeah, I mean, oh, and did I mention he's got his own family? He's got a beautiful wife. She's friends of ours. And they've got 5 kids. 5 kids. They're all boys. And let me tell you how effective he is at being a father and being a coach, all these things. 2 of his sons were state champion football players when they were in high school. They're both in the active army now, one serving in Italy, one serving somewhere here stateside. Heath doesn't raise boys, he raises men. So think of all the 25-year-old adult males you know of right now still living at home because they haven't figured it out yet. Heath's 26 and 24-year-old adult sons are active army soldiers serving our country, one overseas, earning a paycheck, both of them, plus benefits, health insurance, all this stuff, everything that responsible adults are supposed to do, they're doing because Heath raised them to be men, not adult boys, which is a serious issue in American society right now. I've never seen anything like it. You got all these boys being raised to grow up and become adult boys. They're not men. So, all right. Mike says, Kevin, because of your channel, my channel, Mike Shriver Ministries on YouTube has broken 100 subs. All right, Mike. I'm up to 109 or 110. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, again, go subscribe to Mike's channel. And Mike, put the link up for your channel here too. And I've been doing this for 8 years and I've never allowed links. I'm letting Mike put his link up. And Lisa Ann put up Heath's link again. If you're looking over in the comment thread right there, Lisa Ann just put up youtube.com/@Heath's house. Thank you, Lisa Ann. Appreciate that. Oh, Melissa England says he's at 683. Yeah, look at that. We just got him 13 more subscribers in the last 2 minutes. Hey, guys, we're having a Heathathon. He's over there trying to raise money, hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro. It's a 15,000 feet incline, and it's 50 miles total hike over 4 days. Now, all right, Betty Brown subscribed. Thank you. Oh, Kate Roberts joined Heath's house. Sue Ellen just subbed. Thank you, guys. Wow, 695 now, Silver Lining Story 60 says. Thank you. Oh, Mike Shriver just subscribed to Heath's house. All right. All right, Grace just joined. Hey, Daughter of the King. Yep, we're live. I'm having a Heathathon. I'm trying to get my buddy Heath Forbes up to 1,000 subscribers. Sue Ellen just subscribed to Mike, and we're trying to get Mike's ministries up too. You guys are great. And this is what we needed. And this is a lesson I've learned in life. Again, 700 people over at Heath's channel. Great. Samantha71 just subscribed to Heath's house. Thank you. Daughter of the King's going to subscribe. Thank you. Listen, this all started because we heard that there was a shooting in our little, small, tiny community just a couple of days ago, and 2 people were killed by a lunatic. And we were starting to think about how cold and dark and nasty the world is. And if that's your focus, if that's the only part of society you choose to see, that's what you'll see. So you got to be careful about what you're looking for because you're going to see it, right? But then Heath's new video popped up, and I said to my wife, wait a minute. Yeah, we've got lunatics like that doing those nasty things. We've got people like Heath, people with 3 jobs, 5 children, families of their own, volunteering to coach youth sports 40 hours a week, and volunteering to go to Africa for 10 days to raise money to build wells so little kids can have drinking water and be able to go to school who otherwise wouldn't. So yeah, there's some nut jobs out there in the real world, but then there's people like Heath over at Heath's house who are saints. So let's focus on them. And so instead of me making a video talking about how terrible and nasty the most recent gunman was, let's go live and talk about how great Heath is and see if we can bump him from 665 subs on his channel to 1,000. Silver Lining Story 60 just chimed back in. Heath is up to 711 subscribers and counting. Amy Camaglia just subscribed. Thank you, Amy. Yes, Sue Ellen. Gatita Osa just subbed to Heath's house. Mike Shriver just put up, is that your link, Mike? Mike just put up a link to his channel. Make sure to go like Mike's channel too. Heath is at 716. Guys, I'll tell you what, I'm already 12 minutes over what I told my beautiful bride dearly I would go on this live stream. And yes, that was Mike's link. So guys, make sure you subscribe to Mike's channel too. I feel determined to sit here and continue this Heathathon until we get Heath up to 1,000 subscribers. And while we're at it, Mike's starting a lot further behind Heath. Heath had 600, Mike had 100. Let's see if we can get Mike up to 500 while we're here. Hey, a lot of you folks are Christians. You're believers. Mike is the same, and he gives biblical-based sermons. But I'll tell you what I like about Mike. A lot of folks who are biblical would rule out anything like what you see behind me and a lot of the weird, crazy stuff we talk about on this channel. Mike doesn't. He leaves his mind open to all possibilities. And look at that. That's my wife. Life with Dearly. That's my wife and my life. Life with Dearly. She said it's fine if I stay on longer. Honey, we've got Heath up to 721 subscribers now, according to Silver Lining Story 60, who keeps it. Oh, Linda Sparks just subbed. Now he's up to 715. 719. Nanny Rathsey says, hey, Giggly Girl. FYI, guys, that's what we call my wife, Giggly Girl. Because that's what she does. She giggles. She just giggles. Isn't she so pretty? I'll tell you. I look at her all the time and I'm like, what's she doing with me? Look at me. Crazy old guy wearing a freaking toboggan in his bedroom/office. So Lisa Ann's proud of Heath. She watched his video today. All right. So I'm going to take like a 90-second break. I'm going to give you a topic to talk about while I'm gone amongst yourselves. Do onions belong in potato salad? Yes or no? Go for it. No, I'm kidding. While I'm gone for 90 seconds, go to subscribe to Heath's house and Mike's channel. And this is proof that I have pants on. But I'm not going to show you my feet and toes. But I got to find out what that website is because I'm probably going to have to join it to pay my taxes this year. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm right. I'm back, Rebecca Rose. How am I going to leave you hanging? I love red onions, Cynthia Grimm. Onions and potato salad, Roflex is a must. All right. So, how many subscribers do we got Heath up to, guys? Because Kim Heath just joined. How ironic is that? That Kim Heath just joined Heath's channel. All right. There's another one of Mike's videos. Praise perfect is Satan rejected. I know that's a beautiful title, Mike. Sue Ellen, did you see something fly across the room when I? Oh, you were just joking. Okay. Oh, hey, Mike's up to 125. He's up to 724. Yeah. Nurse Care Bear. It's 17 degrees where I live now, or maybe 21. It's going to get down to 17. I went out to get firewood earlier, and it was like, oh, it's 20 degrees where I live now, and it will get down to 17 tonight. Okay, so Linda Skapik. Linda's the one that brought my attention to this bird disaster they're having in Plymouth, Massachusetts. All these birds are dying all over the banks of a pond and the lake and up there, and they're just leaving them there. Donna Eckerson, thank you for joining both Mike and Heath's channel. Oof. Hi, Ryan D. Are you blacklisted? No one talks to you online, even dating apps? Aw. Hi from Bubble. Could it be because you're a fake account? Bam! You just banned from this one too, brah. Yeah, people aren't idiots. Listen, guys, FYI, I know 74% of you are my age or older. Got to watch those scammers. Somebody you don't never communicate with anybody online that you don't know. I mean, if you know. All right. So, is it just me? No, again, I want you to keep subbing to Heath and Mike, but I had this question. It's like, remember we were seeing all the stuff about the drones and the orbs and all that stuff, and we thought that once Trump got back in there, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Well, we never did. But then also, you're not hearing all the talk about the drones and the orbs anymore. What's up with that? Are you guys still seeing anything on the media or about the drones? It's like, or did they just stop like being there doing weird things? And Annie Rathsey hits it, and I've been afraid to talk about this on social media. She's talking about all the plane crashes. There was another one in Arizona today where two planes collided in midair. You know, I was telling Dearly, my wife, that yeah, Silver Lining Story 60 says they haven't seen anything about the drones lately either. There's literally been more plane crashes in America in the last 2 weeks than there's probably been in the last 20 years. It's like, what is up with that? The consortium asks if I'm in an apartment. No, I'm in an upstairs bedroom in an old sharecropper's house built in 1903. Our house is 220, or wait, I'm sorry, 122 years old this year. Yeah, there's a house down the road from us that was built in like the 1690s, and it's really beautiful. The outside of it is the original, like chestnut plank lumber, but the entire inside has been modernized. And I know this because it was on the market a couple of years ago for sale. So everything in the inside, it's modern. And I don't know, it has like 19 acres, I think, but it sold for like $1.6 million or something. But yeah, can you imagine that house was built in the 1690s? Has to be one of the oldest houses in America. LC, watching from Oregon, making apple pie. I wish that I could have some of your apple pie. Carrington event, 1859. Look it up. Sounds interesting. Oh, Cynthia Grimm lives in a 100-year-old house. Said this. Okay, Lori Mullen, the Greer guy, said the secret darkness was going to whistleblow about the tech used that made planes crash in the past. Yeah, that's Dr. Stephen Greer, I'm sure. Barb Helms talking about the fog. We've still got the fog stuff going on. And I'm hearing, Amy Camiglia's house built in 1925. That's a one. Yeah, thanks, Lisa Ann. You guys should subscribe to my wife's channel too, Life with Dearly. Here I am getting you guys to join Mike's channel and Heath's channel. I'm not even mentioning my beautiful bride Dearly's channel. Here's the thing about Life with Dearly. If you actually want to see like a lot of the insides of our personal life, like all the cool stuff we did at Key West, like when we went parasailing, snorkeling, Dearly puts all that on her channel. I just talk about the weird stuff. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, UFOs, aliens, paranormal stuff. This house is haunted, by the way. In the very room I'm sitting in, 3 little girls died in 1918 during the Spanish influenza, and they're buried in the woods. If I were to open the blinds here behind me and look out past our back field into the woods, you can see where they're buried. And Kate Roberts asks, what is Dearly's channel? It's called Life with Dearly. No, that's great, Lisa. We should be pumping Dearly's channel too. Oh, Kim Heath, you and your husband were in Charlottesville this weekend visiting your grandkids. That's nice. Dearly runs our Facebook page too, called Homesteading Off the Grid. She put a lot of videos on homesteading off the grid and a lot of pictures of our trip in Key West, and she's always done that. She does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You know what I do? I talk. I just talk and upload videos and go live sometimes. Dearly actually does the majority of the posting on all of our social media accounts. And it's funny. She gets ribbed by people we know. They're like, you don't work? You don't work? She's like, well, I just, take care of my husband and my son and, help them and do stuff around. Like, oh my gosh, you don't have a career. It's like, biz niches, if you only knew. She made money hand over fist on social media. You would be ashamed to know how much she's thumping you if you're trying to keep score by what it is you do and how much you make. You got no clue. She's just a very humble woman that she loves her family. She loves to stick with her family, hang out with her friends, and she doesn't care about the private parts measuring contests so many people in society are into. So Mike's up to 129 on his channel. He thanks everybody for that. And I thank you for that. Mike's a great guy. He's been following us for a long time. And then somebody was giving us an update. Oh, Heath is up to 732. Doughboy says, all right. Yeah, Grace nails it. She says, a mother and wife's work is never done. Toughest job ever. I agree. I think the hardest job in the world that gets the least amount of credit and zero pay, is being an at-home mom, being an at-home wife. I have it made. All I have to do is make money. All I have to do in my day is figure out what video am I going to make? What am I going to talk about? Where am I going to record it from? The woods, the field, the pond, the fruit orchard. What am I going to write today? Or what part of something I'm writing should I edit? Or, people send in the emails for the stories for the True Haunting series. Got to edit that. That's all I've got to worry about because Dearly does everything else. And then people will say to her, you don't work? Wow. Do you not get bored? All she does is work. it's not seen, and she doesn't have a name for career. Let me tell you, she's spoiled. I mean, she would admit that. It's not just me telling you that. She's spoiled with love and affection, but she's also spoiled, trust me. She doesn't have a single bill she's got to worry about because I take care of all that, and she earns, like, I just throw money every week. I give her currency, and it's more than she would make if she did have a job, and it's more than these people that judge her for not having a job make. Trust me. Uh, yeah. A nanny Rathsey says we work 24/7 because we're always on call. Let me tell you something that I think is adorable about Filipino culture and Filipino culture. When a child is sick, the mother will not sleep. Even if it's just, say, like a common cold. If the kid has a fever, the mother will not sleep at night. She will stay awake and watch that child that has a fever and constantly check the fever, check the temperature, make sure that if it's sweating, she wipes the sweat off. Because over there in a tropical region, you can get pneumonia like that if you're sitting there, you're laying there sweating all night while you're sleeping with a fever, and it's like really hot. You think bad things can happen. I mean, our son is 14 years old. He's healthy. He's very active. He's an athlete. He's healthy. He rarely gets sick. But even now, even as a teenager, if he gets sick, dearly will not sleep. And that's culture wide. We have a lot of Filipino friends over here, a lot of Filipino friends. And of course, I've lived over there for 8 years, and I witnessed over there. And I just think that's so amazing for a mother to just lose a night's sleep to make sure her kid sleeps through the night while they have a cold or a fever or whatever it is that's bothering them. It's just it's amazing. Never seen anything like it. Pamela Davis says, I watched your video from the Philippines last night. Loved it. Yeah, I made quite a few videos over there last winter because we spent 5 months over there last winter. Annette Flynn is informing us that Heath is up to 733 subscribers. Well, that's good. So we've gotten him about 70. So I'd love to get him up to 1,000. Wow. So Lisa Morin says she tried to bury some of the dead birds up there in Marlborough, Massachusetts, and the cops tried to arrest her. Wow, that is insane. Oh, yeah. Binky the Imperfect Unprofessional said swimming in the caves looked fun. Yeah, we went to this one place in the Philippines last winter where there was like an underground lake. You literally, it was a cavernous area. The area where we were 10 million years ago, it was actually the bottom of the sea, but now it's all like coral mountain type area. And you could walk down underground about probably 50 or 60 feet underground, and there was water. And we went swimming in it. It was amazing. No, I did not get a haircut consortium. It's called a ponytail. I started growing it because it started to thin about 3 years ago, and I thought, oh, great, here I am. It's all going to fall out. And I thought, well, I'm just not going to get it cut then since it's going to fall out anyway. But then it stopped thinning, and I like it long, so I'm keeping it. Oh, good. Consortium likes my hair. I'll tell you, that hair made me so much money on Facebook. On Facebook, we have a page over there with like 1 million people. It's called Sick Twisted Humor. And all these different social media platforms pay you differently based upon, like on Facebook, it's for interactions. The biggest thing on YouTube is like watch time. All these women like my age would just go off on me on Facebook telling me I needed a haircut. I shouldn't have hair that long. There's short little tiny little boy haircuts, and I should have mine like theirs because clearly for some reason these women there was something about these women and how they felt about themselves and their hair that made them hate my hair. Uh, but I was like loving it because every time they tell me I needed a haircut, it was like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And I made the mistake and told them that one day, and then they stopped complaining about my hair. All right, what's Carol Anderson saying? Still fog sick from February 5. Fog layers 6 to 8 feet only, barely noticeable, no smell. February 11, took garbage out, very faint burnt matches smell, very sick since Sarasota, Florida. Yeah, this fog. There's something going on in the last 6 months. It's like this fog and the mist ever since these drones started coming out is literally like making people, myself included, sick. I never get sick. But man, ever since that fog rolled in, killed my quail birds about 6 weeks ago. All right, so Mike Shriver is up to 132 subs now. Don't forget to hit all notifications, he says, to receive notifications that he's uploaded. Yeah. Lori Mullen says, Kevin, some of us are wondering if your woods may have activities or sounds due to Civil War battles. Well, what I'll tell you, Lori, is we have had people view videos on this channel that I've made in the woods who have claimed to see the ghosts of Civil War soldiers in the woods behind me while I've made the videos. A lot of you might not know this. A lot of you do. We have planted literally thousands of trees on this property. It's 6 acres, and when we first bought it, it was a hayfield. And so we just went crazy our first 3 years here planting trees. Fruit orchard down front with like 60 fruit trees in it. Privacy hedge of evergreens around about 200 yards worth of road frontage. And then behind the privacy hedge, we planted like 8 rows of mixed deciduous hardwoods. And then we let this 2.5 acre part in the back reforest and grow up because I wanted that as my forest for my hunting and hiking and all these things. I was digging a hole once to plant a tree, and I dug up a bunch of Civil War grape shot. They're like round lead balls about this big that would have been put together in a group of like 10 or a dozen and then fired out of a cannon. So it would have been like a shotgun blast from a cannon. So who knows? Katie, you're talking about an email you sent me. I don't know if I get like between 100 and 200 emails a day. Yeah, Patsick, I planted all those trees. I remember after we'd been here about 3 years, I saw a guy in the grocery store that I see going up and down the road where I live all the time. He's a farmer, and I've gotten to know him a little bit in the recent years. He farms multiple properties out here. He actually manages something like 800 acres worth of farmland. He runs cattle. He's got his own land. And I saw him in the grocery store, and I approached him. I said, "Sir, I want to introduce myself to you because I want to meet you." He said, "Why is that?" And I told him where I live. And I said, and this is true from the time I moved here almost 9 years ago until now, because I get up early, especially in the summers, because I run. And I'll get up and run at 5:30 in the morning in the summer because by 8 a.m. in Central Virginia, it's like 90 degrees in July, August, September. And if you don't got your workout done by 8 a.m., you're just not going to get it done safely. I mean, I've ran later in the day before in the heat and have gotten like heat issues with it and almost regretted it. And so I'm just not going to do that anymore because I'm too old for that. But this guy, I will literally see him out there farming from like 4:30 or 5 a.m. in the mornings until like when it's 9 p.m. and I'm sitting up here at the top of my field having a cold one after a long, hard day of work. He's still out there. So I call him the hardest working man in my community. So I told him that. And he laughed. He says, "Well, I appreciate it." He says, he says, "So just so you'll know, my wife and I have or his lady friend and him had a nickname for me too." And I said, "Well, what's that?" He said, "The crazy tree guy. How many trees have you planted?" And I said, "Well, a couple thousand." He laughed. He says, "Yeah, that's what I thought." He says, "It used to be a hayfield. Now you go by there, it's a freaking forest." I love it. That's one of the reasons Dearly and I will never, ever, 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 ever sell this property. We love it here. We love living here. But just we can't leave the trees. It's not the house and it's not the land so much, it's the trees. I mean, to have planted trees that were literally this tall, foot and a half tall, that are now 25, 30 feet high, towering above us. It's like, wow, we did that. Our son he would plant them with us and he would run and jump over top of them like he was running hurdles. And this is when he was in kindergarten. He was a tiny little thing. And I'd say, "You better enjoy that, buddy, because here in a few years, you're not going to be able to jump over those trees." And now he's a big old teenager kid, quarterback for his football team. He's standing there looking up 30 feet high trees. And I say, "Buddy, you used to jump over that tree when we planted it." Crazy, isn't it? Thank you, Linda Skapik. That's why all my videos I make outside. I mean, yeah, I can make videos from inside like most YouTubers, but I think the property is just so beautiful. I like making the videos outside to show you the backdrop because it is so pretty. And most of that backdrop, my family and I have created by planting trees. I had a mortgage lender stop by one day. I was down close to the gate, and this was a couple of years ago. She stopped by. She says, "Hey, she lives in the community that just had the shooting at the grocery store." And she says, "I come up and down your road all the time doing business." She says, "I'm not here to drum business, not trying to get you to sell your house." But she said, "I want to let you know I've watched what you've done with your trees. And FYI, you have increased the value of your property by at least $100,000 just by planting those trees." I was like, "What?" I had no clue because that was never any part of the plan. I just wanted trees. We wanted the privacy hedge along the road. We wanted the fruit orchard. And once I started showing her that, she didn't realize we planted fruit orchards. She's like, "Oh my God, you're like up to 150 now just from what you've done." Yeah. What's up, level-headed wild child? You and your mom's gonna plant some seeds? Good. Oh, I'm excited to garden. I'm out there, it's cold, and I just can't wait to start digging in the dirt again. Lori Mullen says, oh, well, she's talking to Pam. All right. Looks like somebody wants a shout out for Annalise. The consortium says she is 10 years old and loves the stream. Please shout her out. Annalise. Thanks. Hi, Annalise. If that's what that message means. Are you watching, Annalise? You want to shout out? 10 years old. That's a great age. You just hit double digits. Not one of them mean old nasty teenagers yet, but you're not a tiny little kid. You're big enough to take care of yourself in a lot of ways. Perfect age. Oh, Mike, thank you for saying all those nice things about me. Now, a million of you go subscribe to Mike's channel and Heath's. Pam Castle says she's got a couple of ghost stories. Hey, Pam, send us those ghost stories. Again, the email address to the channel is crazylake@mail.com. I got some really cool ghost stories in today after the last video I made today, where I told some of the Bigfoot stories and the ghost stories. Already, folks have emailed us some ghost stories. So we got some really cool ghost stories coming up for you all in the future. And thank all of you who are thanking me for my service. I appreciate your appreciation. All right, guys. So I have been going for over an hour. So I'm going to wrap it up in the next few minutes or so. Mike Shriver just shared his YouTube channel's address again in the comment section. Please go subscribe to his channel. And again, this is how the whole motivation behind this live stream was to talk about my buddy Heath.
Hey everyone, here in the village of Memguni, serves about 7,000 people. That's the well. That's the solar panel that feeds it in the power box. I'll put some more details in my longer videos, but check out my links and join the cause and click on Donate with Heath and help us get clean water to these people in East Africa. It's pretty good. Be with some of the villagers right now, and then we're going to the primary school. So I'll see you all around. Bye.
Again,
Hey everyone, here in the village of Memgood.
Combat veteran Heath, and his YouTube channel is Heath's House. Okay, he served in Iraq, served in Afghanistan. He's still in the Army National Guard. He's a platoon sergeant. Okay, E7 level duties. He's got 3 jobs, beautiful wife, 5 children of his own, 3 jobs, coaches full time as a volunteer youth sports, football in the fall, basketball in the winter. He's going to coach with us in spring flag football this spring as well. Is in Africa for 10 days to hike up Mount Kilimanjaro to raise money to build wells for these poor kids in Africa and poor adults in Africa. Adults need water too. Everybody gets thirsty. So yeah, the name of his channel is Heath's House. We're trying to get him up to 1,000 subscribers. I think we've gotten him about 80 here tonight, just in this last hour. So if you're watching this live stream, if you're watching the replay because you missed the live, please, all of you, I'm practically begging you to go subscribe to Heath's channel. It's called Heath's House. Misunderstood University says she's been subscribed to him, and he's awesome. Yes, he's awesome. And he's a great cook. He is the only person other than my wife that I would call a great cook that I know of. My wife is number one. He's a close second. And he makes different things than her. He makes a lot of Western food, of course, because he's an American guy. And that reminds me of a funny story. Cynthia Grimm says she's raising money for these wells too. Well, that's great, Cynthia. You're in with the same cause. Marie's going to go subscribe. Thanks, Marie. So about a month ago, me and Heath were hanging out. It was before a basketball practice. So our sons do weight training together at the high school. They're going to be in high school next year. They're in middle school this year. So we drop our kids off at the weight room where we've got an awesome fitness coach, strength coach there at our local high school that takes these kids and puts them through a workout for about an hour and a half. And Heath and I go hang out for like an hour, and then we go to basketball practice after that. And our sons are on our basketball team. We put these kids through their paces, man. They're not sitting around their bedrooms playing video games. They're out there doing work, brah. That's why Heath's 2 older sons were state champion football players, and they're both active Army soldiers right now. They're not sitting around rooms playing video games, brah. They're doing work. Thanks, Elizabeth Grahalis, for subscribing to Heath's channel. So anyway, he's talking about this upcoming hike, having to hike up Mount Kilimanjaro. And I'm like, dude, have you even been training? He says, no. I says, you're getting ready to go hike 50 miles over 4 days up 15,000 feet in elevation incline, and you haven't been training? You know what he said? He says, let me tell you something about me that you might not have known. I said, well, what's that? He goes, I'm an American, so I can do anything. Enough said. Enough said. It's true. But he works out all the daggone time. He works out all the time at home. He gets out there. He's almost 50. Every basketball practice, and our practices are an hour and a half to 2 hours long, he's on the court, running up and down the court with the kids the whole time, even though he's almost 50. Yeah, I think he's going to be perfectly fine going up and then back down Mount Kilimanjaro. Mike, you're very welcome for me having your channel 6. Thank you for having my 6, Mike, and being one of my moderators. I appreciate that. Everybody, remember, go to subscribe to Mike Shriver's channel as well. Mike, go ahead and put your link up one more time, because I'm going to close this off here in a minute. I want to make sure people are going to your channel as well. All right. So again, guys, thanks, Mike, for getting rid of those jerks. There's Mike's channel. Go subscribe to Mike's channel. Again, go to Heath's House. Just HeathHouse. Cynthia Grimm coached girls sports for 15 years. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm telling you, I love especially seeing girls in sports. I coached high school girls basketball many years ago. I've coached for almost 30 years. Listen, if your parents or grandparents of females out there, get them involved with sports. Girls who participate in sports have higher self-esteems than girls that don't. They have less uncomfortableness with menstrual issues because they're in better physical condition. And number three, they are less likely to end up in abusive relationships than girls that don't participate in sports. And a lot of that, of course, reverts back to the fact that they have higher self-esteems. Because a lot of that, I mean, let's not sugarcoat anything. A lot of that is a self-esteem issue. When you love yourself, you're not going to let anybody else disrespect you. You know what I mean? Goddess Thorn asks, where did I get my fruit trees and hardwoods? The fruit trees, we bought them. And we had to do that over a period of years because here's the thing about working for yourself. Your income, it's up and down. It's up and down. Now, fortunately, over time, it's like a man walking up a hill with a yo-yo. It's like the stock market. You look at the Dow Jones or the S&P 500 or even the NASDAQ. Go back 20 years. Sure, there's daily fluctuation, but over the long haul, it is up. So that's the same when you run your own business successfully. So yeah, it's up and down and up and down. The highs get higher, the lows get higher. So there were a number of years where we just couldn't afford to buy fruit trees because we had to buy groceries and there just wasn't anything left over extra. And since we are tight and thrifty, we don't go into debt. We don't do credit card debt. We've never taken equity out of the house to go buy stupid stuff we don't need. We don't have that home equity line of credit that, like, when we take our trip to Key West, we pay with money out of our bank accounts that came from our paycheck. So that way we pay as we go, so we don't owe. You know what I mean? So we had to be patient with the fruit trees and acquire them over a few years. But now, as far as the hardwoods go, and a lot of the evergreens, which are mostly eastern red cedars, we dug them up from the wood line on one end of the property. I'd go up there with a shovel because I didn't even have a truck at the time. I'd go up there with a shovel over my shoulder and a 5-gallon bucket from Lowe's, so the blue buckets that says Lowe's. I'd dig up 5 or 6 little seedlings or saplings that were about 18 inches, 2 feet tall, put them in the bucket. The bucket was full. I'd walk all the way back down. It's about 400 yards, almost a quarter of a mile to the other end of the property, dig holes and plant those trees. For about 2 years, I actually was not running and lifting weights and working out or training. And I was probably more fit than I have been since I have been working out and training again, just from doing that with trees. And in the summers, when it would get hot, the first 2 years, we bought 400 feet worth of water hoses. We bought 4 100 feet long hoses and hooked them together to run from our pump to where we planted these trees because we went through droughts. Those trees were going to die. I would spend 2 hours out there, the last 2 hours of daylight, watering the trees. People driving by, looking at me, laughing at me. We had some trees die. One a-hole that lived up the road actually stopped to laugh at me. He thought it was just so funny that the whole front row of trees I planted died. They were cedars, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And I said, well, yeah, they died. I said, well, I'm just going to replant them. So I did some more research, learned more about it, and planted them, and they lived. And they're now 30 feet tall. I mean, you don't drown because you fall in water. You drown because you stay there. You know what I mean? So anyway, whatever. He never stopped telling me, hey, congratulations. Your trees live. They look beautiful. You know why? Because that guy's a loser. Guy's a loser. Anybody that will stop to make a comment about your failures but won't stop to commend you on your successes is a loser. They're known as toxic, and get them out of your life. Yeah, that was like strange. It was weird. I think he's since been divorced. I think what was going on is he was miserable and he just saw a seemingly happy family by the road that he thought he could stop off and take his misery out on. Yeah, I haven't seen him up there for many years, but the woman that he was married to at the time is still up there. So I think he was on his way out. Goddess Thorn, thank you for your appreciation of my service. Your son's doing the same thing on his 22 acres. Wow, that's great. And did you say he's a vet too? Well, yeah, my son is a disabled vet. Well, thank your son on my behalf, Goddess Thorn, for his service. All right. Oh, Mike is almost up to 200 subscribers. He picked up 37 in the last 35 minutes. You guys are awesome. Yep. Yeah, Patsy gets it. He was jealous, and yes, he's a loser. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, you should never look down on another person unless you're extending your hand to help pull them up, whether it's through a kind word of encouragement, some support. If it's something you've been through that they're going through, maybe give them some of your story. You know, hey, I've been where you are. This is what I did to kind of get through it. But just to see somebody that's down and to just look down and laugh because it makes you feel better about yourself, then yes, you're a loser. You're just a loser. Just go sit on a bench somewhere and just keep losing. Leave the winners alone. They're too busy winning to listen to your criticism. You know what I mean? Darlene Nicklow, I appreciate your father's service. 10 years, 8 in the Air Force, 2 years in the Army Reserves. All right. So, guys, I'm going to get off. FYI, you know what I'm going to go do with my beautiful bride, Dearly? Got to show you her picture again. She's so pretty. Look at her. Isn't she pretty? Too pretty for the likes of me, I'll tell you that. We've just started watching the new Dexter series on Amazon. What is it? Original Sin. We love that show, Dexter. We watched all 9 or 10 seasons, however many there was. And so we're so excited that they're doing this prequel now with Original Sin, showing what he was like as a child, well, college student and post-college graduate. And then in June, I don't know if you knew it or not, but they're going to come out with the next one. Like, turns out, I guess he lived. It's called Dexter Resurrected or something. He actually didn't die when his son shot him in the last episode of the last season, like 10 years ago. All right. So, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting this channel. Thank you for watching my videos. Hey, a special thank you to the members who have you're willing to pay $6 a month to be a member to get the private live streams and the private videos you get. I'm not worthy, so my appreciation to you is so great. And my appreciation and gratitude goes out to all my subscribers and regular viewers, even if you don't pay $6 a month, because I mean, you take the time out of your day to watch videos I make, and you don't have to do that. Everybody's time is valuable, and you give me some of yours. It means the world to me. Thank you. My wife, my son, myself, our family, we're living a dream life, and it's because of you folks. 15 years ago, we were, and this isn't a tell, my face is itching. Got some freaks. Oh, he's lying. He's scratching his face. That's a tell. No, my face is itching. Okay. When our son was a baby, we were living in the jungle in the Philippines without running water, without electricity. My wife always busts my chops on that one because we had one light bulb that worked sometimes. Okay. And there were so many holes in the roof of our house. Our roof was made out of like palm leaves. And when it would rain, there was just one spot in our bed that didn't get wet. And that's where we'd put the baby. He was like this big. And then me and Dearly would sleep on each side of him, like trying to get, it was like playing Twister, trying to position your body to where the raindrops wouldn't hit you. It was crazy. We would have to go into the jungle and dig up roots for our food because we had no money. We had no food. But now I pay between $50,000 and $75,000 a year in income taxes to the IRS because you guys take your time to watch the videos I make. And I'm undeserving, but extremely grateful. I appreciate each and every daggone one of you. Thanks for being here. And with all that said, again, go subscribe to Mike's channel, and please subscribe to Heath's channel, Heath's House. He's over there doing great things on top of all the great things he does over here for his fellow Americans, who he's fought for on foreign soil on 2 different war fronts, Iraq and Afghanistan. Be careful out there, guys. Be safe. See you for more next time.